microphone.
It's working?
Yeah.
Showing red.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. Sorry about that. So we're talking about Parashat Shoftim, and we said that in the end of the parasha, we speak here about a murder that happened in the middle of the road, and nobody knows who killed the lad, this person, and the responsibility is on the rabbis or on the elders or on the Sanhedrin of the Beit Din of that town, the closest town to the murder, and they take responsibility. We say, why the rabbis? What they have to do with something that happened here? So the idea is like that. When somebody comes to a strange town and nobody gets out of his way to host him, to see if he needs something, to give him some food. He goes, he wanders, and then he leaves. Nobody escorts him. He leaves the town sad and depressed, and if bad guys come over him, he doesn't even resist. He cannot fight against them. But if people, they welcome him, they give him food, they fight for the married to have him at their home, they'll escort him, they will ask him to stay a little bit more. He feels much better about himself. He has good self-confidence, and he would be able to fight against bad people that come towards him in the middle of the way. So the fact that people didn't care about him in that town is the responsibility, that the murder of this person is there. They're there to be blamed. I want to explain something. They made a research about this thing. Whose responsibility, who to blame. So two scenarios. One boy, a little boy, was left alone at home. Parents went to some, I don't know, occasion they had to go, and he was left home. He spotted this jam jar on a very high shelf, and he wanted to eat it very much. Didn't ask for permission, so he climbs on a ladder, on a chair, high chair, gets that jar, and on the way of getting that jar, he touched a very expensive crystal glass, and he dropped and broke. Okay? Scenario number one. Scenario number two. A mother asked her son to help her out, and she gave him a pile of 20 plates to take from one room to another. Okay? And as he tries to help out his mother and take this pile from one room to another, so he didn't pay attention that behind the door that connects these two rooms there was some obstacle, and he stumbled or tripped over it, and all the 20 plates broke. Okay? Now, which action here is stronger? Meaning, who to blame here? Who is responsible? What's bigger? What's stronger thing? The boy that broke this one crystal glass, or this boy that broke 20 plates, a lot of plates. Okay, so they gave this to all kind of groups of ages of kids. They wanted to see how kids answer to it. It very much depends how old is the child, because his morality grows according to this. So the little kids, the younger age, the group over there said that what affected them more was the fact that the boy that broke so many plates, he needs to be punished because he broke so many plates. all the kids said that the boy that broke the crystal cup was to be blamed because he did something that nobody asked him to do. Okay, the first one was trying to help his mom, the second one was trying to steal something that's not his, and he is the one to be blamed. So there's a difference we see between to blame and to take responsibility. As the kids grow up even more in their age, so the kids said that the one it cannot be that the one that breaks 20 plates won't be punished, or somebody should be punished over there. An action like that happens cannot go without any punishment. They decided that the one to be blamed for this action is the mother that didn't pay attention to the obstacle that there is between the rooms, and because of her the boy tripped and fell and broke all the things. It's not the boy's, it's not his responsibility, it's not his problem. So here we see a difference between guilt, blame, and responsibility. And so the blame, the responsibility of the authorities of that town is to see what exactly happens in that place. Then after they slaughter or they kill that calf over there, that heifer over there, it says that they have to wash their hands over there and say, Kaper lamcha Israel. Hashem, please forgive the people, the Jewish people, for spilling this clean blood, the blood that was not supposed to be killed. Please have atonement. And I want to tell you something. When somebody kills and we don't know who killed, who exactly to blame, and nobody takes responsibility for the death of that person, his blood does not rest. The person does not rest. The one that was murdered cannot rest until the judgment will be done over there.
Wow.
It says that you all know this story. In the time of the first temple, there was this king. I told you this story so many times before, that he was raised inside the holy temple from young age, King Yoash. The Kohen Yehoyada, took care of him, educated him, taught him, and as he grew up, right, he in the beginning felt very much gratitude to the Kohen, but later on he felt too high about himself. You know, I survived being in the holy temple all the time, felt too good about himself, and as the son of the Kohen, his name was Zechariah, he would, teach him, don't do this, this is not right, he would tell him what to do. He didn't want to listen. It says that it was one time Yom Kippur, the high holiday, and Shabbat also in that day, and the Navi, which was also a Kohen, the Zechariah, tells him, listen, you're not right in this. He was telling him what to do. He didn't want to listen. He decided that he bothers him too much, and he killed him. He killed him in front of all the people that were in the holy temple in Yom Kippur, which was also Shabbat. In front of everybody, he killed him. It says that 250 years his blood didn't rest. It would come up in that place of the holy temple and bubble up, bubble all the time. Couldn't rest. And so later on comes Nebuzaradan. Nebuzaradan was the messenger of Nebuchadnezzar from Babylon, and he is asking the people, what is this blood bubbling over here? And they say, we slaughtered here a lot of sacrifices. He says, no, cannot be. And he wants he tells them, I want this blood to absorb inside. So he started to kill people on top of this place.
Wow.
To let the Navi Zechaya's blood come down. The more he kills, the more it bubbles. It says that he killed close to 1 million people. It's easy to say, just think about the number. Close to 1 million people on top of him, and he said, what? I killed the best rabbis on you. I killed the best chachamim. You want me to kill double and triple and more? This is when the blood stopped. It says, stop bubbling. What's the idea over here? A lot of people are seeing a murder that happens in front of everybody and nobody protests. In a way, it's the same kind of a thing that a murder occurred somewhere in the road and nobody takes it. It's not my problem. I don't know this person. I don't know. So what do you want from me? So many times it happens that people go, you're on the way, you're on the road, you're in the car, somebody's stuck over there, nobody stops to help. You ignore.
So the Zechariah wasn't punished?
Zechariah wasn't the Kohen.
I'm sorry, the boy.
Yoash?
Yeah.
Yoash was punished and they killed him. But the idea is the Jewish people at that time didn't take responsibility, and because of this, close to 1 million people died on that area just to calm down this. So when you remember, when Cain he killed Hevel, it says, "Kol demei achicha zoakim min ha'adama." The blood of your brother is crying out from the earth. He cannot find a rest. Right? That's what happens when something bad happens and there's no judgment over there. Same with, if you remember, Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. We know that because of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, Charvai Yerushalayim, Jerusalem was destroyed. Why? Why it was destroyed? Because of this. Because so many people are witnessing an insult that happens in somebody's house, and nobody says anything. Because of this, Charvai Yerushalayim. Because people didn't get out, didn't protest. They say, it's not, I cannot speak to, I cannot say anything. He's a big man, he's not, I won't find a job, or what this will say about me, or what that say. People don't want to take responsibility. To be passive, it's a sin also. And this is what we're talking about here. So the mark that stays in that area when blood was spilling and nobody took responsibility over there, it can stay there forever. They say they are not allowed in that area to plow the land, to make it work, to make it fruitful area, so that people will remember that somebody died here. Well, today we see so many deaths and murders and bad things that happen, and we all become kind of apathetic to it. So what's the big deal? So well, it's not my problem, people think. The Torah wants to shake up a little bit us and tell us, hey, don't let it happen, and don't say, oh, it's not my problem. When the children of Yaakov came from Egypt, after being there for a while with Yosef, they come back to tell the big news to their father that Yosef is alive. So it says that Yaakov doesn't believe them. He says, no, cannot be. He doesn't want to believe them. Doesn't want to believe them. When does he believe them? Only when he sees the wagons that Yosef sends him. This is when this is when he believed in them and he felt so good, and I felt, why? What exactly these wagons have to do over here? What exactly is so important? What's so special about them? So they say Yaakov and Yosef were the only one that knew what was the last session that they had together before Yaakov sent him to his brothers to Shechem. They learned about Eglah Alfa, about these laws. When somebody is dead in the middle of the way and nobody knows who killed him, what exactly should they do? This, and because of the egla arufa, he sent him, in Hebrew wagons is agalot. Okay, it's not the same thing, but it kind of sends him a sign. He tells him, I remember exactly what we learned. We learned about taking responsibility, and we see that Yosef did take responsibility on everything he did. Responsibility goes on 4 different dimensions. We have responsibility, and we will see what exactly Yosef did. Yosef, we know that he served his master in a very faithful way, responsibility. He was interested to know why exactly the minister of ministers of Paro, why they were sad after their dreams, and he wanted to make them feel good. He wanted to help them out. After he spoke to Paro about his dream, he advised him how to prepare for all these 7 years of famine and hunger in Egypt, what to do. And even though he was not asked, Paro didn't ask him, so what should we do? He tried himself to tell him what to do. And he held himself while his brothers were in Egypt and didn't reveal himself to them, so that he wanted to see how his dreams are going to come true. He dreamed back when he was young that all his brothers are going to bow down to him, and he wanted to see why is this called responsibility? So this is how it goes. First of all, I told you we have 4 different dimensions of responsibility. There is responsibility of the person towards the world. There is responsibility of the person towards his fellow Jews. Okay, there is responsibility of the person towards his family, and there is responsibility of the person towards himself. Okay, so responsibility of the human being towards the world. It says in Masechet Nida that when somebody is born, they tell him, they swear him, they tell him, Tiyeh tzaddik, you have to be righteous. That's what they tell him, to every one of us. And so it's a responsibility of any one of us, okay, to become righteous. It says, V'tzaddik yesod olam in Mishlei. So everybody has to say, Bishvili niva ha'olam. The world was created for me. And it says, in Masechet Kedushim, Le'olam yeh adam chetzio chayav v'chetzio zakai. Everybody should look at himself like he's half innocent, okay, zakai, and half guilty. Meaning, we don't know, but every action that we do, if we do something good, we influence on so many people we don't even know. And when we do the bad, it's the same kind of a thing. I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody buys a lottery ticket. The more people buy, the more the price gets higher and higher. When it becomes $20 million, $30 million a price, more people want to buy because it's such a nice price, and more. So it's like becoming. Imagine yourself a mitzvah that you're doing, and the merit of it doubles, because when you do something and you influence on another Jew to do this mitzvah, or another person that with Kiddush Hashem, what we said so many times before, the merit of this could be so strong. Because if, let's say, you were able to influence on somebody to make a mitzvah, and because of you, so all her family is doing this mitzvah, and when her daughter gets married, she and her family will do this mitzvah, and all. It's generations, and it's such a big merit. It all counts on you. Opposite is also the same. If somebody makes a sin, it could influence on so many people. So this is the responsibility of a man towards the world. The responsibility of a man towards his own Jewish nation. Well, we know that unity is a very big role. in Judaism, and it says, Kol Israel hem she'er basar, they're close, they're relative physically towards each other, מפני שהנשמות כלולות יחד, because all their נשמות come together. כל ישראל ערבים זה לזה, we say, right? One is for the other. And when somebody makes a sin, not only that he defects his own portion, but he also defects his friend's portion. And this is the responsibility of the single, of the yachid, of the one person towards the society also. It says, whoever can protest for anshe beto, for the household of his people, of his house, and he doesn't protest, nitpas al anshe beto, he is to be blamed for the sins of his household, and meaning he is punished for all the sins that they do. That's what Rashi said. Be'anshe iro, if he has a power to protest, to influence on the city of where he lives, and he doesn't, so if they make sins, it's his problem. Be'anshe bechol haolam kulo, if he's such a strong man, like he's a president, or he's a king, right? And a lot of people follow him, and if he has so much influence on other people, so, and he doesn't protest, so he is the one to be blamed for the sins that they do. That's how strong it goes. So the influence of people could be so strong. Miriam comes to her father Amram, okay, and she tells him, Gezeratcha gdola mishel Paro. Your decree is much greater than Paro, it's much stronger than Paro. My decree? Slicha, did I made a decree? Asked her Amram. I didn't. Yeah, you decided to separate from your wife. And because you're Gadol Hador, because everybody's listening to you, they look at you, they imitate whatever you do, so everybody is separated from their wives. But Paro said, no male, to be alive, no baby boys. You say also no baby girls. So it's because of you that we will stop the Jewish nation, just because this is the responsibility. So listen to this. If somebody works on his qualities, it says, this is his responsibility towards other people. When people see how you act, they sometimes imitate you. You're not even aware of this. You don't even know. But that's the strength of every act that we do. Responsibility towards a family. It says in Mishlei, "Halo paros la'arev lachmecha." You should give a poor person your bread. Umibsarcha al titalam. Don't ignore from your flesh, from your family. Okay, and so you have to take care of the people that are closer to you, the first, your own family. Once one of the rabbis, he came very late to shul, to the shacharit, to davening. So the students are asking him, Rabbi, what happened? You woke up late or something? He says, no, I had to help an old woman cross the road. So they said, oh, very kol hakavod, beautiful, beautiful. Who was this lady? It was my wife. No, for your wife had to do this, so why not? If she's closer, if she's related to you, it means you don't have to make a chesed. We know that chesed starts from home, of course. So, and then we have a responsibility of the person towards himself. People nowadays don't like to take responsibility. They don't. I'm just a human being. What do you want from me? So what's the big deal? So what did I do? First example that we see of somebody that didn't want to take responsibility was Adam himself, Adam and Chava. He made a sin, and he says, "Aisha shenatata imadi, it's the woman that you gave me. It's not me. What do you want?" And well, we like to take this kind of thing, and we do it. I saw something very nice. The word responsibility in Hebrew is called achrayut. Achrayut. How you write achrayut? Achrayut starts with the letter Aleph, finishes with the letter Taf, meaning from beginning to end you have to take responsibility, okay? And then it says that the Achrayut has to be in a sense of accumulation, meaning the first word, Aleph, means me, ani, okay, me. First, I have to take responsibility on myself, it says. Then, Aleph Chet, Ach. After I took responsibility on myself, then I can take responsibility on my brother, okay? Meaning the closest circle to me. Like we said before, Aniel HaKodmim. Achar is somebody else. After I took responsibility on myself, on my brother, I take responsibility on others as well, okay? Acharai. In the moment that I took responsibility on the people that are closer to me, I could lead after me all the other people. Acharai in Hebrew is I'll lead after me. And then you have acharav. Acharav is faith, it says, and only in the end comes achrayut, all the way. Achrayut. It's nice to see how the Lashon HaKodesh, how beautiful it is. So first, person is supposed to take care of, to take responsibility on himself. Here's an example of a person that did not want to take responsibility. Let's say somebody by the name Boris. Boris was arrested because of fraud, and they opened criminal charges on him in court. And the judge asked him to go to the rabbi of his community and to bring a testimony letter about his personality, that he's a good person, that he's in the community, whatever. So he comes to the rabbi and he tells the rabbi, I need this kind of a letter. So the rabbi is, I don't know you, what exactly should I write about you? He says, I can tell you about myself, I have no problem. He says, first of all, I had a very tough life, not easy. From young age, my father, he was tough with me. He used to beat me, he used to abuse me, and my parents never did get along with each other. Then my father was bankrupt, so he abandoned me, and I was left home with my mom. She was alcoholic, she was depressed, she never take care of me, and this is how I grew up. So you understand that I couldn't really have good relationship with other people. I got married with my wife, but then I divorced because I didn't get along. And this is how my life is going all about, and it's not because of me, it's because of my parents, it's because of my wife, it's because And so you can ask my own psychologist, he'll tell you, he will confirm all whatever I told you. So I told him, the fact that you had some difficulties in your life doesn't justify the idea that you have to work on yourself, that you have to take responsibility. What responsibility? Why should I? It's not my problem, it's my parents, it's my this, it's my that. So the rabbi tells him, Avraham Avinu is the father of our nation. You know how hard life he had in his young age, in his childhood? His father didn't want to raise him because Nimrod wanted to kill him. So they left him in some kind of a cave. He was there by himself, grew up by himself. Oh, where's Hashem? Young age, he's all by himself. And still, it didn't make him a bitter person Avraham Avinu became a very, very positive person, and he influenced on so many people. He was doing always kindness, always chesed, always. So it doesn't mean the fact that you had tough life, you have to be so bitter. And then he tells him, and here we start Rosh Chodesh Elul, and this is the best time to talk about this. He tells him about Elazar ben Dordia, famous story from the Gemara. He was a man that was a very bad man, made all the sins in the world, and one bad woman tells him, you don't worthwhile anything, you have no faith, you will never repent, nothing is going to come out of you. Hearing it from this bad woman did something to him, and he's like, really? Nothing? No. And he starts crying. It says that he goes to the mountains and he says, mountains, please pray for me. Okay, and what is the idea of mountains? Mountains is my parents. Mountain says, no, we cannot pray for you. It's better, we have to first pray about ourselves. That's what they say. Meaning, he tells, oh, it's my parents' fault that I became such a wicked. They never taught me, never educated me, didn't put me in good schools. It's because of them that I'm not a yeshiva guy or I don't act the right way. So they didn't accept it in heaven. You cannot blame your parents. Then he tells them, he turns to the kochavim, to the stars, to basically he says the luck. I wasn't born in a good luck. I was born in a bad luck, and because of my bad luck, I became I don't know, a murderer or abusing person or this or that. So they didn't accept it in heaven. They said the fact that you were born in a bad luck doesn't mean you have to be a mean person. Then he tries to blame Shamayim va'aretz, the heaven and the earth, which is the way he exactly was his society, his surroundings. You know, he says it's my friends. It's because I had bad friends. They influenced on me. It's because of this. Because of that. They didn't accept it in heaven. When they accepted his repentance, when he started crying, he says nobody can help me. So it's only me now. He took the courage. He was to admit that he's the one to be blamed. This is when they accepted his tefillah. This is when they accepted his repentance in heaven. It says he cried so much until he died. And a voice came from heaven and said, okay, Elazar ben Doria, muzman l'chayei olam haba. You made your thing. So, to take responsibility. There was this guy that was living was in a yeshiva, in a young age, religious family, everything, but always made fun of everything around him. The rabbis, his friends, his parents, and parents are trying to help him out. Rabbis in the yeshiva are trying to help him out. They bring all kind of advisor to help him out. Nothing helps. He grows and he goes from one grade to another grade to another grade. It continues over, makes fun of this, makes fun of that. They made him in charge of the, I don't know, electricity and air conditioning. They made him in charge of the kitchen. They made him, give him some kind of job so he will feel responsible. He will feel, nothing helped. Until one day, he was already in his, I don't know, he was 16, 17 years old. His rabbi introduced him to somebody and tells him, oh, this is our troublemaker, in a fun way. And that guy took him and started to talk to him. He approached him in a nice way so he would accept from him, and he told him, until you won't take your self-responsibility for all the damage that you do, you stop blaming your parents, nothing is going, you're not going to succeed, and it's going to be very hard for you in your life later on. This is when he took it. This is when he started thinking about this. This is when he made a change in his life. Let's go back to Yosef. Started to say that Yaakov is sending Yosef to Shechem. Shechem is a place where all the problems started over there. They sold him over there. Later on we know that Dinah was tortured over there. Later on also it says in the Nevi, that King's David kingdom was split over there. A lot of problems was always in Shechem. And Yaakov sends him over there to Shechem, to that area. Why he sends him over there? He had there not only physical danger but also spiritual danger in that area. Bad people, bad area. So Yaakov is trying to supply him with spiritual food. He teaches him, he gives him a lot of attention. He tells him the laws of Eglah Ufa. He escorts him in a spiritual way so that he'll be able to cope later on in his life with all the problems that he's going to face. And when Yosef sends his father this valiance, he basically tells him, look, father, I live now in Egypt. Egypt is the source of tumah, of bad and sins and avodah zarah and all whatever you want. and I kept myself pure. I kept myself clean. And this is the proof, this agalot, these wagons that I send you, because I took responsibility on myself. I took responsibility on the people, on my nation, on the world, on everything over there. Yaakov sends Yosef to a mission. Lech ra'eh shalom achecha. What exactly it means? Lech ra'eh shalom achecha. You don't live in peace. You have a problem. You don't live in peace with your brothers. I want you to make peace with your brothers. Till now, so Avram had a problem. His son Ishmael is left out of the family. Yitzchak had a problem. Esav is left out of the family. I don't want this to happen in our family. Try to make peace so that there will be unity. That's the mission that Yaakov sends Yosef to. And Yosef goes to Shechem, to that area, and he says, I'm looking for my brothers. I'm looking to make this peace with my brothers. And this is when they sell him. This is how he goes to Egypt. This is how he stayed there. And all these years, he doesn't meet his father because he didn't complete his mission. So then he sends these wagons to his father, and he tells, when exactly he revealed himself? I told you, he was holding himself up, not revealing himself to his brothers yet. Why? Because he wanted to see, did they change? When they sold me, they didn't care. Did they change now? When he saw that Judah says, I will be guaranteed for Binyamin. I will never forsake him. I will never leave him alone. He's very important for me. He saw the attitude to their father, what our father will think. When he saw that they did change throughout those years, this is when he said, okay, now the mission is completed. This is when he sends this agalot, these wagons to his father, and he tells them that they made tshuva.